Hello and welcome to Coffee with Dr. Carla. I'm Dr. Carla, This is Colleen, and we're glad that you're here with us today. Our goal today is to talk about some mental health related issues and hopefully start to end the stigma surrounding them. All right, so let's talk about organizational coaching. And what is that?
What is that? So I think when we met, long ago.
It was before the pandemic,
right?
So it's been a while.
Five-ish. I was more in-person organizing, so hands-on organizing with my clients. I was actually taking my coaching classes at that point, though.
Okay.
So I've been in business for 20 years. And probably 10 years ago, I realized that organizing was more about the conversation sometimes than the hands-on.
Right.
And so that better communication skills and understanding where people are coming from and then guiding them more through the process of organizing. So giving them the tools. I would love to organize myself out of a job or out of a client, right? So the whole idea is to kind of empower them, enable them in a good way, but empower them by asking the more powerful questions, not just, how do you want to sort this by color or by category or whatever, but, what would be more meaningful to you? Not necessarily how did we get to this point, but what do you want to do moving forward? So we're always we as coaches are always quick to say, coaching is not therapy.
Right.
I am not a counselor. I am not a therapist. I am not that, but I can help clients come to awareness about where they are currently and then where they'd like to go.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's like I said, a little more deeper conversations, which is great.
So I guess I wonder, what do you see clients, like when they finally reach out to you, what is the typical kind of realization that would make them realize that they need someone like you? You know what I mean? Okay. So like with therapy, like, well, I can't figure this out anymore. Mm-hmm. I'm not coping well, mm-hmm. right? And so because what you're doing is not therapy, though, I wonder, like, how are people realizing that they would need a coach to help them organize?
Okay. So I would be organizing anyway with some of my clients, but I do have some of my clients that are just coaching. So very often they know me or they know of other people who are coaches or who have gone through the coaching process. And honestly, coaching is just the conversation. And I usually say it's about the client. Like, how often do you get to just talk about yourself for a while?
Right.
And talk about the tools and things like that. So very often I'll have a client who says, I've been working in time management for years now. I can't seem to make it stick.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's not necessarily that they're disorganized. I have a number of coaching clients right now. I do time management and productivity coaching. So it's not even necessarily organizing their physical space, but organizing their mind or their schedule or, I feel like maybe I have ADHD, but I haven't been diagnosed. What are strategies that help every person and also people with ADHD?
Right.
So it's me having tools to offer or to suggest and then finding the right fit for that person. So I'm not there to impose it on them, but to kind of come with a toolbox loaded and see what works for them and what resonates for them. So sometimes it goes hand in hand with coaching, and I also have clients that I've never met face to face, that I've only ever Zoomed with, or they're all over the country now, who have found me through friends or something like that. And so I don't know what their physical space looks like, but we're working through that, time management or professional development or self-development or whatever that might look like. So.
Yeah, you bring up an interesting comment, because I think whenever I think about organizational issues or decluttering and things like that, it's the image that comes to my mind is more about the physical space, mm-hmm. right? And I know that physical space usually is representative of of their mental health
Yes.
or things that are going on in their life, but the idea that maybe their physical space is in order, and it's not, has nothing to do with that. It has to do with other things like time management, or keeping, I guess, the brain more organized, right? So that's an interesting twist. I think people, at least in my interactions with people, when we start to talk about organizational issues or decluttering, people jump to hoarding. And I mean,
Of course.
while that's an extreme case, that's not, that's clearly, based on what you're saying, not typical. And the fact that it now, with this new concept, added, at least new to me, that it doesn't even have to be about physical space. It could be about, how you perceive your world around you. That's an interesting continuum,
Yeah.
I guess I'm curious, with the clients that you're coaching, how do you help them, understand or make sense out of, that continuum and how it can look so different?
Okay.
Because I'm sure there's a stigma, like, well, I'm not a hoarder.
Oh,
well,
my gosh.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or they have a family member who says, you're a hoarder. And, okay.
And it's not even close,
You
right?
can diagnose that. I can't.
Right.
So here's a little plug or tool. So I get a lot of my continuing education units. Yes, I have to do that. Through something called the Institute for Challenging Disorganization. So it's called the ICD. I know. There you go.
Okay.
So I can't tell somebody that they're a hoarder. I'm a coach. I am not a licensed, right? That is not, but the ICD is a resource for people like me to learn more about, if I do have a client who's a hoarder, on what
Who really is a hoarder.
But
not that just they like to save something.
They like to keep things, or their daughter, their grown children said that they're hoarders. But there's actually a tool out there. It's under, there's tabs on that ICD website, and there's one of them that's called the Clutter Hoarding Scale. And if you actually just Google Clutter Hoarding Scale, it will pop up, and everybody's on the scale. They're either a 1 or a 5 or somewhere in between. Nobody's a 0, nobody's a 6. But everybody's on there, and it helps you to kind of, again, just awareness, right? There's things like, how congested are the hallways in a home? So I can say, somebody might tell you you're a hoarder or not, but mostly it's just the dining room table has a bunch of stuff on it. You're not.
Yeah, that's not even close.
Right? Like, no.
Come on, turn the TV
good.
on and watch the shows that
You're
are just
fine,
horrible.
right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
There's a motorcycle in the living room and a couch in the front yard. That's more non-traditional, and none of your appliances work. Like, these are some of the diagnoses, some of the things that we can look for. So I know when my clients just need an organizer or an organizational coach, and when they need more clinical help.
Yeah.
And so there are tools out there, and sometimes it's nice if it's the judgmental family member to say, I'm only a 2, I'm not a 5, we're good, and this is what we need to move forward. So it is nice, again, that awareness for yourself and also for your loved ones or people around you, that maybe I need some clinical help to get through that, and maybe I just need some hands-on help.
Awesome.
So
yeah, because I think people are embarrassed to admit that things are cluttered or dirty, and so if they could have a tool like that to be able to just even assess for themselves, bring some clarity for themselves, then perhaps that will allow them, I guess, a little bit more ease to reach out and get the help that they really do need.
Yeah, definitely.
Any word of advice for people who perhaps find themselves in the situation?
The cluttered situation?
Yeah, just
take a deep breath.
Yeah.
You're doing okay. And there are resources, obviously. People like me, in this internet age, there's lots of YouTube videos. You can Google resources. You can become part of clutter resource groups. Check out the ICD. There's all sorts of things out there for folks to get a better handle on that for themselves, and then finally know where to move forward.
Awesome.
So-
Thank you. So remember, you can change your thoughts, discover your potential, and transform your life by focusing on your overall well-being. So until next time, continue working on being the best you possible. Bye.